Hello everyone, I'm Marvelous Lazy Gamer and welcome back to another video. So a few weeks ago I decided to completely start over on my Animal Crossing island. I just wanted to do something new and I wanted to live stream it. So I live streamed a few times, but honestly I got kind of bored with it and I decided to move on to some other games. Well, the other night I had this grand idea for an island design. So that means I am back in Animal Crossing. So I'm going to make a small series on designing my entire Animal Crossing island. The videos are going to be broken into parts because I don't want each video to be overly long. So you can click on whatever video you are interested in when it comes out, and it should be a lot of fun. I am going to turn my island into a kingdom. Now, I have a few ideas about how I'm going to do this, but it's going to be kind of a, play around as I go type of thing. So, since I'm starting with a fairly new island, I'm going to take you through the entire process of how I design my island. So you can do the same thing if you want, or if you have an idea for a different design, you can kind of see how I do it and maybe make your island however you dream that you want it to be. So, without further ado, let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do to design my island is I'm going to use this really cool website that I found that was developed by a fan of Animal Crossing. It is Happy Island Designer. There will be a link in the description box below. But basically, you can pick your island layout and then you can go through and transform your island as you want. It's a very simple website to use. It doesn't have any of the furniture or anything like that. It's basically to lay out your island. So that's basically what I'm going to do. I'm going to just kind of figure out where I want things. They aren't necessarily going to be where those things are going to stay, but I kind of just want to make a layout of my island so I can figure out kind of more concretely what I'm thinking in my head and what will work with my island. So to start off, after choosing my island layout, I just go ahead and I find resident services building and I go ahead and put that on my island right around where it is on my island on the Switch, so I know where that is. After getting that in place, I go ahead and I place the airport just so I have that frame of reference. Now, one thing I know I'm going to be doing on my island is I'm going to be completely changing my rivers. I'm going to want to make a moat around my castle, and so I'm going to need to change how the river is laid out. So I'm just going to go ahead into this little paintbrush feature. I'm going to select the dark green, which represents the lowest level on your island, and I'm just going to take out all of the rivers, and then I'm going to go in with the slightly lighter green and the lightest green and do the same thing. So I have just land to start out with. Now after that, I am going to go into this flooring kind of feature, and I'm just going to pick this gray color to kind of break up my island and figure out where I want everything to be. So I'm going to take this gray color and I'm just going to kind of map out my different parts of my island. So I know that I want part of my island to be the kingdom. I want that to have the castle. I want that to have all the villagers. I want that to have the market. That is going to be my kingdom. So I'm mapping that kind of half the island out in gray. And I'm just playing around with different sizes to see what exactly I like. Now, of course, like I said, nothing is going to be exact on here. This is just to get a feeling for what I want my island to look like. So after I'm done with that, I go ahead and I add in the water. Like I said, I want a moat around my kingdom, so I go ahead and add that and make sure it will fit, and it looks pretty good. I just go ahead and I know I'm going to want a bridge, so I add a bridge. Then I go ahead, I find my house, I stick that up on the highest point because I know I'm going to want my house all the way in the back. My house is, of course, going to be the castle, and I am the queen. I make another little entryway because I'm going to have a port for my island. You've got to have a place for ships to come in and bring the goods. And then I'm just kind of using this brown color to divide up the kingdom because I want one section to be the marketplace and one section to be where all my villagers live. So now I'm just playing around with how I want to section it off and where I want to put my shops and the museum. So while I'm doing that, I'm also kind of marking off pathways and seeing how I like the layout to be. I then go ahead and just try and figure out how big I want the area around my house to be. I go ahead and trim some of the mountains because I want my house, which is going to be the castle, to be on the highest point and nothing else gets to be that high. So then of course I have to add steps up to my house, and of course my house is going to be surrounded by another moat, and there are going to be some beautiful waterfalls, so I go ahead and I make that. And I line behind it with trees because nothing else is going to be back there. I mean, really. So after I'm done with that, I notice where my secret beach is, where Red visits. So I go ahead and I just make a path in between the mountains, and I line that path with some trees because I kind of want like a secret forest kind of vibe going on there. And then I get rid of the rest of the mountain because that is going to be my farmland. Every kingdom needs a farmland. It needs a place where it's going to grow all its fruits and vegetables and stuff for its civilians. So one of my villagers will be out there to be the farmer, and I just kind of put the little symbol for a lighthouse next to the house because I want a silo to go there, but they don't have a silo image for me to put. Then I go ahead and I connect the mouth of the rivers that I erased to my new rivers, and I just place the houses of the villagers willy-nilly where I want them to go. This will be better figured out when I actually start moving the houses, but for now I just want to symbolize where they are going. And that's basically it. I just wanted to figure out the layout, where I wanted everything to go. It is very simple, and of course things are going to change as I move things around and as I actually get into the game and do things. But it's nice to have a little visual. So now that I have that visual from my head onto the screen, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the actual gameplay. So since I am basically starting over on my island, I don't have much here. I don't have many Nook Miles. I don't have a lot of money. My island is basically a blank slate right now. So my first step is getting my island to 3 stars. I want to get my island to 3 stars because that is what is going to unlock terraforming, and I am going to need to terraform in order to make this come to life. And terraforming has to be the first part. I have to at least get a layout of what I want before I can start moving things around. Now I am going to be time jumping a lot in order to make this happen because otherwise it's going to take maybe a month for me to get 3 stars, and I just don't have that kind of time. So the first thing I want to do in order to get a 3-star island is to unlock the island evaluation. So in order to do that, we have to upgrade resident services so that we can get Isabel. After we get Isabel, Tom Nook will be like, hey, you know what? I want KK Slider to come, so we're going to have to really up our reputation. Talk to Isabel if you want to know our rating. So in order to upgrade resident services, we first have to upgrade the shop. In order to upgrade the shop, you have to make sure that you have paid off your initial moving fees to move the island and upgraded your house to the first upgrade. Once that happens, you'll head over to the resident services tent and you'll see Tommy and or Timmy talking to Nook about opening up a shop. They will then ask you to help out, and they will ask you to gather 30 pieces of softwood, hardwood, and regular wood, and 30 iron nuggets. Once you do that and pass them along, the next day the shop will open. You're also going to need to make sure you get the museum. To do this, you need to talk to Tom Nook in the resident services tent and tell him that you have found a creature. Now you can give him several bugs or several fish, it doesn't matter, but once he gets a certain amount, he will call his colleague Blathers and tell Blathers to come on over. We've got stuff for you to study. The next day, Blathers will show up, and you can start giving Blathers the fish, bugs, and fossils you find. Blathers will give you a stick to jump over the rivers, and he will eventually give you a ladder to climb up your cliffs. Once you give him enough creatures and fossils, he will announce that the museum is going to get an upgrade, and then the next day the museum will have been upgraded. So after the shop is upgraded, the next step is going to be to build a bridge. Now Tom Nook is going to be like, hey, we need some more villagers up in here. I'm getting inquiries and we need to get this done. So he's going to tell you to build a bridge so that you can access more of the island to build these new houses on. Once you build that bridge, he's going to give you 3 building kits, and you get to choose where you want these 3 new villagers to live. After you place these 3 plots, you are going to need to build their furniture. So each house needs you to build 3 exterior pieces and 3 interior pieces. And this is going to be the part that takes a while, because you're going to need to gather all the supplies and you're going to need to build all the pieces. But after that's done, then you can go ahead and skip ahead a day at a time, and once you get to day 3, the 3rd villager will have moved in. You can skip ahead another day, and then on that day, Tom Nook will announce that resident services is going to upgrade. So after it upgrades, you'll go ahead, head in to the new resident services, and when you're in there, Tom Nook will be talking about wanting KK to come visit the island. Now, he knows that he's going to need word to spread about the island in order for it to reach KK. So he thinks that there should be able to be visitors to come and just spend a little time on the island, not necessarily move in. So he's going to give you instructions on how to build a campsite for people to come visit. You're going to have to go ahead and construct that and set the campsite somewhere. Then the next day, someone will come and visit the campsite. The day after they visit, Tom Nook will then announce to you that you can talk to Isabel, and she will give you the current image of the island or your island evaluation. Now, once we hit this step, we can move pretty quickly on getting our 3-star island. But make sure that while you're doing everything you need to get this 3-star island, you go ahead and talk to Isabel frequently. Once you do something, you can talk to Isabel and she'll tell you what the rating is. You don't have to jump a day for it to change. It can change right after you do something, she suggests. So if you're having a hard time trying to figure out what you need to do, make sure you talk to Isabel, because she will give you some really good hints on what you need to do to get that 3-star island. So the next thing you're going to want to do is weed the entire island. Now, I know this is kind of annoying, but it needs to be done. You need to go around to every nook and cranny, and you need to get all those weeds. One thing that's nice is that after you weed, if you have Leaf visit your island, you can sell the weeds for double the price to him, which is what I did, because I needed them bells. Another thing you need to do in order to get your 3-star island is you need to move in at least 8 villagers. At some point, you can go talk to Tom Nook, and he'll say that it is much easier to put aside plots of land than it is to scurry and build homes as villagers say they want to move in. So you can go ahead and pay 10,000 bells for each plot of land you want to lay out, and you can go ahead and lay out 4 more plots of land. Once you do so, you can either go and visit an island using Nook miles, or you can wait for the villagers to just move in on their own if you don't care who moves in. And once you get up to 8 villagers, then you're good to go. You're also going to make sure you open up Able Sisters. So once you have the shop upgraded, make sure you go into the shop and Timmy and Tommy will be talking to Mabel. They'll say that she should come to the island every once in a while in order to sell her clothes, and she will be like, yes, I am on it. So you'll see her a couple times. If you're skipping days, make sure you talk to her and buy some items. She moved in to the island from me after I purchased about 5,000 bells worth of items. There may also be a number of times she needs to show up. I bought all the items I needed after her 5th time showing up, so I'm not 100% certain if there is a number of times she needs to show up, but make sure that you buy at least $5,000 worth of stuff. 5,000 bells worth of stuff from Mabel, and then if she doesn't move in the next time you see her, you might have to get her to come to the island at least 4 times. Another thing you're going to need to do is put out at least 25 furniture items around the island. Now, it doesn't matter where you put these items, it doesn't matter what the items are, but you need at least 25 furniture items somewhere outside on the island. I literally just threw all mine on the beach outside my house, and I just grabbed anything I had and threw them outside. This was one of the quickest steps for me. You're also going to want to put out at least 250 fences. Now, Tom Nook at some point will tell you about fencing, and he will go ahead and give you 50 fence pieces and tell you that if you go into Nook's shopping on the terminal, you can now purchase DIYs for fences. So you need to go ahead, purchase one of those DIYs, and you're going to need at least 250 fences around your island. I just threw these around kind of willy-nilly, at least that was my plan, and then my OCD took over and I needed to make them look nice. So this part took me a little while, but only because my OCD decided it wanted everything to look nice. Finally, planting flowers and fruit trees. Now, Isabel was very clear with me that she wanted a variety of fruit. I don't know if you need all of the fruit items, but I planted all of them just to be safe, and I planted a lot of them. And then for flowers, I planted a lot of flowers just everywhere. I went to a Nook Island and grabbed some flowers. I had some friends who had some flowers, so they came over and planted them for me. And honestly, I don't know how many you need, but the more flowers cannot hurt. Plant those flowers and plant those trees. If you do all of this, then you should be able to go to Isabel, and she should tell you that you have a 3-star rating. Again, if she doesn't tell you that, if she says you have 2 stars, listen very closely to what she has to say. She might tell you that you need more flowers, she might tell you that there aren't enough fencing, or she might tell you that it needs a little weeding if you had some weeds that pop up and you didn't realize it. Listen to what she has to say, do what she says, and you should get to 3 stars, no problem. So once you get to 3 stars, Isabel will read out some feedback signed by a KS. Tom Nook is quick to realize that this is KK Slider and quickly gives KK a call inviting him to perform a concert on your island. Of course, KK says let's do it, and the very next day he'll be on your island performing a concert. Go ahead and enjoy a single from KK, and then after that, Tom Nook will tell you that you have earned the right to terraform the island. Now, this was the whole point of getting to 3 stars, because we are going to need some terraforming to transform our island. So that's all for this video. I just wanted to show you how I designed my island and how I got to 3 stars to unlock terraforming. My next video, I will be showing you how I terraform my island to get it set up for how I want to design my kingdom. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you can get notified when I release that next video. I hope this was all really helpful, and if nothing else, you at least learned how to get started designing your island and how to reach 3 stars. Comment down below if you've figured out any other way to reach 3 stars or you've had problems. What villagers did you have move in? I didn't care at the time what villagers moved in. I just wanted to reach 3 stars. So did any of your favorite villagers move in? Are you going to have to do some replacing later? Let me know in the comments down below. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.